What's up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 4. I think it's 4. Is it 5? I'm going with 4. 4 of the Bizwisdom Show. Today, we're going to talk about how to transform your small business into a large business, or into a large brand, rather. So if that is something you're struggling with, if you're in a small business and you want to take that next step to be a big, large juggernaut of a brand, this is a show for you. So today I'm going to jump straight into it. I think there's a few things I'd like to talk about potentially, but a little pressed for time. And it's been a few days since I've done one of these, so I really wanted to get in to show some good stuff and jump right out. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to start by talking about this very topic: how to transform your small business into a large brand. So the first thing here, the most common small biz challenge that I see most days here with new prospects, small business clients coming to our agency is this. You've grown your business to a point in time. Most of your business comes from referrals. It comes from word of mouth. You know, maybe you've joined some networking groups or something like this, and you've built this business. And maybe you've been in business for many years. Maybe it's a short time, whatever it is. But you've got it to a stage where, hey, it's a real business. You know, you've got some office space, you've got some employees, you're winning customers, you've built up some processes and some systems, you've got a sales process even, you're able to sell, you're able to win new business, and you're a success. Congratulations, right? Like, you know, you're running a successful business. You're probably earning more than you ever earned, you know, working for someone else, or you know, doing what many small businesses do and paying your employees before you pay yourself, and that's fine too. But you know, I mean, you can argue that, but you've built a successful business. It's established. It's not going to go broke tomorrow. You're ready to take that next step. You want to move to the next trend. But the problem, and this is the problem, if you face this challenge, you'll be able to relate to this, right? The problem, if you're this kind of business, is that referrals and word of mouth, they don't come in consistently every single month. Some months you get a whole bunch of them and you'll be super busy and you'll be doing deals and, you know, and you'll be trying to close business. And then the next month there'll be nothing at all. It'll be crickets. And the problem with that is that you can't plan. It's impossible to plan for the future because you don't know next month whether you're going to get, you know, 100 leads or 10 leads or no leads at all. And you can't plan for that. It's difficult to know when to hire the next employee. It's difficult to know how much you can spend on certain things, you know, marketing or advertising or whatever. It's just hard to plan. And then of course the other side of that is when all the leads come in at once, you're stupidly busy and you know, it puts pressure on all your systems and business is really hard. And this is something I hear all the time, right? So what you end up with is these lumpy results. And the biggest problem, and often the motivator for these kinds of businesses wanting to talk to me, is that they can't scale that. How do you scale word of mouth? How do you scale referrals? I mean, sure, you can build referral systems, you can go to a bunch of networking events and you can try to sort of grow those, but there's only so much you can do. And, you know, there is this sort of ceiling that you can't get through. And what often happens is that while you sort of this kind of business, you're relying on, you know, the market to just bring you leads. You know, the leads will just come, and you know, you kick back and you just be ready for them, and they fall in your lap. But the problem is that those same market forces that lead to new opportunities for your business tend to also lead to some natural churn. So, you know, while you're winning this new business, you know, there'll be, I don't know, a customer or a client, or depending on how your business is structured, that goes out the other way. And you know, while you can grow to a pretty big, you know, there's many businesses that have never moved beyond that, and they're fine, and their founders, you know, make enough money to survive, and you know, their people are paid well, and all these kinds of things. There's this natural ceiling that you just can't get past, or you might inch up and you inch back and you inch up, and you just sort of never get that next step. And so that to me anyway is the biggest challenge that I see time and time and time and time again. And the question that comes from that, of course, is how do I turn from a referral, word of mouth based business to a business that has marketing, sales, advertising at the engine room, that's driving this, that's scaling my business through marketing? Because once you develop that marketing sales system for your business, well, all those problems that I mentioned disappear. It's suddenly scalable. If I know that I can get a new customer for $120 per customer through these set of activities, then I can scale that. I can say, great, well, how many more customers do I need, to hit that target? Therefore, what's my budget need to be to acquire that? I can set that. When am I going? If we hit these targets, then when do we need to pull the trigger on that next round of hiring? We can start interviewing now. It's so much easier to plan. All those teething problems of referral-based businesses disappear. Suddenly, those lumpy referrals, you still get those referrals, but they'll come and they'll go when they come, and you'll be able to stack it full of this, marketing, sales, advertising activity that's going to just grow and grow and grow and grow your business. And it'll be transformative and it'll be incredible, and you'll be able to do all those things that you always dreamed of, and you won't be held back by this this lack of surety in what's coming next or what's around the corner. You'll be in control. You'll have the reins, at your hand, and you'll be driving this thing. So mixing my metaphors there a little bit, but hopefully you can come along. So that's really cool. But this is the point that so many businesses never ever get past. Some try. In fact, most try. Most, apart from the few that might just be happy, going, "Oh, that's cool. I just like kicking back and waiting for the leads, and I'll let the economy steer my business, and that's fine." But the majority of people will have a crack at this once or twice or 100 times, to do it, and most fail. The hard truth is most fail, and that's because word of mouth and referrals is easy. It might not feel easy. You might feel really proud of yourself that you've built all these processes in the sales system, and maybe you've got the best sales deck ever, and wow, you're so good at closing deals. But sorry, that's great, and it's great practice, and to do all these things. But you're pitching people that either already know you or know someone who has put in a really good word for you, and these businesses or these people, whoever these people are coming into your business with a whole lot of trust. They trust you. Sometimes they might not even be talking to anybody else. They might not be looking at any other alternatives. They were recommended to you by someone that they trust, or they know you forever. They've worked with you, whatever that is. You don't have to get as much right for them to become a customer as you do for a cold audience off the street, never heard of you before. It's that marketing side, a cold audience coming into your business, that's a fair fight. And that's hard, right? To win a fair fight, well, you've got to be pretty good at fighting. You've got to be pretty tough. You've got to be pretty strong. You've got to have a good product. So, maybe you've got a great product. I assume you have, right? But in this scenario, you've been around business for long enough to have built a successful product. So you've got to be doing a lot of things right. And I don't mean to take anything away from you. This is the way I started my business too, for what it's worth. And that's why I know this, right? It's so much easier to close a deal that's a referral, because they're not, even if they are shopping around a little bit and looking at two of your competitors, well, they don't really know them. They don't really trust them. They trust you. You know what? The price is right, whatever. He ticks a couple of those boxes, you're good to go. So, referrals and word of mouth is easy. So this other side of that, of course, is marketing is hard, right? And I'm using the term marketing loosely, there's some referral and word of mouth based businesses, there's some components of marketing that they've done. But to make marketing the engine room of your business, to be able to take cold traffic, cold audiences that have never heard of you, that are not familiar with your brand, and to turn them into paying customers is way, way, way harder than turning referrals and word of mouth prospects into customers. And that's where most people fail right at the start, because that is a rude shock. If you've never dealt with that before, the shock of that different type of customer who's suddenly trying to grind you down on price, who is not as responsive, who doesn't instantly connect with you and have that instant rapport that you've felt so sure of yourself that you always had, you're really good at developing this rapport or whatever it is, right? Like, it's a shock to the system to suddenly find sort of lukewarm people that are interested, and and there's a whole lot of components that you maybe never needed to get right, and maybe you never needed to put them into your process in the first place. Maybe it's trust signals, maybe it's social signals, maybe you never had to learn how to communicate your key selling points or your value proposition of your product or your service to someone, because you've never really had to do that. Your referrals and your word of mouth leads were a lot easier, so you only had to get 30% of it right to close a deal, and you've built a really good business. Now suddenly, hey, you've got to get close to 100% of it right, because if you don't, the competitor will. And you've got no competitive advantage over them when you're starting out, at least, like you did when you had that trust that was built up from the referral. So in my experience, a lot of people, a lot of businesses will try to transition from this referral word of mouth kind of business to a marketing-led business, and they'll try a tactic. They'll throw up some social media posts, on whatever platform, maybe all the platforms, and they'll do that, and they'll do a really good job for 20 days, 30 days, and they won't get any leads, and they won't get any customers, and they'll say, it doesn't work, and maybe it's just easier to just wait for these referrals. Or maybe in that time you have one of those months where heaps of referrals come in and you get really busy doing all of that, and you take your mind off the marketing, and then, it didn't really work anyway. And then you quit. So that's the first thing not to do, right? Don't quit. If you can understand that this is hard, that you're going to have to put 5, 10 times the effort into winning a prospect, or winning a customer, turning a prospect into a customer early on than you ever had to with referrals, then that will be important to you, right? You can if you go in with that mindset of this is going to be harder, and you know what else? The other reality, the customers probably aren't going to be as valuable. They won't be as good, because in your early days of marketing, you probably won't be able to win the same echelon of customer than you were winning from referrals. Those great deals that you were doing then, the people that are going to talk to you in those early days of marketing are probably a lower standard of customer or a lower paying customer. And so you're going to be putting in 5, 10 times the effort, and you're going to be getting a customer that isn't worth as much. And that's going to be demoralizing. And again, there's an opportunity for you to walk away, push through it, because in order to unlock these dreams, to unlock this amazing marketing-led organization that's scalable, that's consistent, that you can plan, you've got to get through these teething stages of, just things being hard, and the value of those customers not being as good. And so that's the first mistake I see people make, which is they just give up too soon. Or they do, and the next mistake I see them make is they try the wrong activity. So I've made the mention social media posting. Social media posting should almost never be the first advertising, marketing, comms piece that you put out there into the world when you're starting this. Look, social, organic social media is cool and it's great and it can do a lot of things, but it's not going to win you customers straight away. And so, in my opinion, in those early days, you need a channel and you need something that's going to deliver some instant leads quickly, so that you can get a little bit of that momentum. And so, for me, that is always going to be paid advertising. It's rarely going to be organic social media. It's rarely going to be SEO. It's rarely going to be a big budget brand campaign or TV advertising or something like that, right? These are all really, really powerful activities. And these are things that should absolutely be part of your marketing program at some point. But if you're making those first tentative steps from being a referral, word of mouth based business to being one that's growing into becoming a marketing led organization, large brand, then start with something that's going to give you some leads straight away. And that's typically for me going to be paid search. It's going to be social media ads, and that's probably the two. It's going to be either both of those things or one of them. And some organizations tend to lend themselves better towards search engine marketing, in which case it would be paid search for me. Others, not so much. Therefore, you go down the social media advertising, advertising. It's been a long day, sorry. You go down that route, the social media advertising. But typically, one of those two is going to be the word to go. So, so either it's they quit too soon, they're focusing on the wrong channels. They're focusing on long-term channels or those things. And then the third one is that your objectives are not aligned to, or your tactics are not aligned to your objectives, or you have no objectives at all. So the final point that I would make on this is you need a system, and that system's going to be like it's not going to be complete. You can't look at the big companies that have been doing this for decades or whatever, and then just instantly, Xerox, if you know what Xerox is, copy that whole program and just go, great, we're going to do that. Most businesses won't have the resources to do that, and it's going to break you. It's going to be too big. It's going to be too much too soon. And it's not going to work. But it makes sense to sketch out some sort of a system, and then to understand what the objectives are. So what's your primary objective? Should be leads and sales in most cases at this stage. Okay, great. Primary objective, leads and sales. What's our secondary? What's our secondary objectives? We're going to have to win trust. These people don't know us. Which tactics are going to build the most trust? Which platforms are going to allow us to reach the right users at the right time, and all these kinds of things. So you need a system. Your system needs objectives. Again, I'm shocked by the number of people, the number of businesses, the number of people I speak to inside these businesses that want to make this step, who you say, oh, what's your objective? And they're like, oh, well, some leads would be good. And I guess some brand awareness. And those two things are completely like you need different programs for both those things, right? There's not too many programs that's going to give you instant leads and sales and brand awareness. And brand awareness is long-term play, and leads and sales, well, can be both, because certainly brand awareness will lead to leads and sales in the long term, but in the short term, you might want a short-term sales activation types strategy to fund that long-term activity that's coming after that. So you need to be really clear on your objectives. And then the other thing, I get that all the time. We need some leads. I get some leads, and I guess some brand awareness would be nice. And then I say, okay, cool. How many leads do you need? And they're like, oh, we'd like to double. Whoa. Hold on, everyone wants to double. It doesn't matter how much of it is. Everyone that speaks to me is like, we want double the result. And of course got very little budget to do it. So maybe that's achievable. I don't know, but it's important to set some small objectives and to be realistic about that. So I wouldn't be, if you're doing this for the first time, be going for the dual objective of brand awareness and leads. I'd probably focus on leads first, and brand awareness we can work on down the track. It's really important, and it's going to make you more money than the short-term stuff. but not in the short term. It's not. It's going to make you more money in the long term. And oftentimes, we need something that's just going to fire in the short term to get this flywheel spinning, to get that momentum up. So be realistic, set some objectives. Okay, we would like a system to give us whatever it is, 10 leads a month, 20 leads a month, whatever it is. Great. Okay, we can work with that. Let's now start to put in place those things. So this part of it, the system and the objectives, that's a much bigger topic than we can tackle now. It's something I'm going to come back to. So I will do another one of these shortly around how to build out that system, what that system looks like, the components of the system, the various objectives that and some of those sub objectives, I guess, that you need to be able to hit in order to get those big goals. But yeah, I think I'll just wrap this up here. That was the point I wanted to make early on. This is a really big challenge. It's a really, really important challenge. It's a challenge that a lot of people get wrong in the short term. And what really pains me, I think, is that many businesses, I think, just walk away from even trying to solve this challenge completely, because they just find that too hard. They knock up against that wall early on, and they just find it too hard. So they accept mediocre results, or they just go back to being comfortable with being a referral-based business. So, if there's one thing that I can, empower you, if you've made it this far, to sort of do, is to understand this is the biggest challenge in small business. So if you're facing it, you're not alone. Nearly every other small business has faced this at some point in time. This is the ultimate challenge to overcome, to take that leap from small business to large brand. So take some solace from that. And then two, to stick at it, to understand it's going to be a lot harder, to understand in the short term it's not going to deliver that much value, but that the pot of gold is there and can be unlocked if you have the right system, you have the right objectives in place, and then you start inch by inch, step by step, putting in place the right marketing components to unlock this this engine, to start the engine room of your business. Now, as I said, I'll do some more sessions on this, but if this is you, if you're in this spot, reach out to me. This is what I do every single day, and what I love doing is speaking to small businesses and building out this system, sketching out this system for them. It's part of it's part of the discovery stage process of our sales process, and I'm happy to spend my time working on anyone's map, I guess, to start to map this out for them. So, if you'd like to take me up on that, do reach out, speak to me. There's, should be pretty easy to find if you're watching this or listening to this right now, So reach out to me. I'd love to hear what your challenge is, because it's a lot easier to illustrate this with a real case. And if I know a little bit about your business, it's very simple to start to sketch out what is that entry point system that's going to start to build that engine room for your business. So thank you for tuning in tonight. I've been a bit rambly. I apologize. It is late in the day, and it's been a long one, but I really wanted to do this. So yeah, thanks for tuning in for another episode of the Bizwisdom Show. I'll be back again very, very soon. If you have enjoyed this, please, the most important thing that you can do for me right now is to share it widely, to comment, so that if you're watching this on one of the platforms that you can comment on, then please do comment so that I know that you've listened to it. Let me know what you think. Talk to me about your own challenges. I'd love to help you out. If you listen to this on audio, then please do leave a review at this stage of just trying to get the traction that this needs, so that we can start to grow and scale this little podcast and reach more people. And I'm on a mission here to try to help small businesses to make exactly this leap into large brands. And this is the early days of that, but I hope that you'll come on the journey with me and share it widely with as many people as you can. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. See you next time.